A very good evening, welcome to Champions League Live as we conclude the round of 16 fixtures here this evening, and two huge games to come between now and 10 o'clock tonight. First, we're in Barcelona as the two sides in Barcelona and Newcastle face off after a 1-1 draw from St James's Park last week, looking to book their place in the last 8. Kickoff in a few minutes in that one, and that is followed by three huge games coming up at 8 o'clock tonight, including our feature game at Anfield as Liverpool look to come from 1-0 down against Turkish side Galatasaray from their first leg defeat. Also looking to find a way back into their games, Atalanta 6-1 down from Bayern Munich, a real tall order for the Italians there in Germany. And Spurs back home and hoping that they can have home comforts to try and overcome what was a damaging defeat in Madrid last week. 5-2 defeat, albeit that is putting it a little bit nicely after they were 4-0 down after just 20 minutes, Spurs, last week. Anything respectable, you gotta say. We'll see it be enough for Spurs, but a tall order for them to try and find a way back. But you never know. The Champions League has already given us some great comebacks. Sporting started the week with a huge comeback against Bodo Glimt, and their story and fairy tale season ends at this stage. 5-0 winners, Sporting, after extra time. Arsenal ended up 2-0 winners against Bayer Leverkusen after they were level from the first leg. PSG continued to destroy Chelsea and continue up with that late kind of flurry of goals from Paris Saint-Germain in the first leg, and they put 3 past Chelsea without response from the Blues last night. And Manchester City beaten in the first leg, beaten in the second leg. They were down to 10 as well in that one. So 2 English sides out and 1 through, and we will see what the fate of 3 more English teams are tonight. And we start in Barcelona as the 5-time Champions League winners take on a Newcastle United side looking to extend their own record of their best season in this competition, and that is currently this season. Let's have a look at the two teams then for this one as they're out at the Spotify Nou Camp. Let's start with the home side, Barcelona, and Johan Garcia had to make some great saves last week. He's in goal again for Barca. Eric Garcia comes into defence alongside Pau Cubarsí, Gerard Martin and João Cancelo. Of course, dropping to the bench there, Ronald Araujo, who was last week's captain. Bernal and Pedri continue in midfield with Fermin in the 10. Lamine Yamal and Raphinha are the wingers, and Robert Lewandowski leads the Barcelona line. On the bench for Barca, Caution, Szczesny, Araujo, Cortez, Espart, Casado, Olmo, Rashford, Gavi, Marquez, Torres and Bardagci. Well, for Newcastle United, it's been a bit of a roller coaster of a week, really. They thought they were going to get a famous victory against Barcelona this time last week. Ultimately, that late penalty rescued a draw for the Catalans in the northeast of England, and then that big away win at Chelsea at the weekend means it was a mood-boosting weekend for the Magpies, and hoping they can bring that form here to one of Europe's greatest footballing venues. Starting with Newcastle, Aaron Ramsdale is in goal for the 5th successive time for Newcastle. Kieran Trippier is the captain, he's at right back. Malik Chow, Dan Burn and Lewis Hall are alongside him in defence. A midfield of Sandro Tonali, who returns from illness, Joe Linton and Jacob Ramsey make up that midfield 3. that will look to cause a few problems for Barca tonight. And hopefully for them, a few more. And a front three, which has pace galore, to say the very least. And one man who thought he delivered that incredible winning goal against Barca last week. Harvey Barnes alongside Anthony Elanga and Anthony Gordon are the front three. On the bench for Newcastle, Pope, Harris, Ruddy, Botman, Livramento, Murphy, Willock, Neve, Asula, Murphy, Voltamara and Johan Visa. Lots to enjoy for this one. No bigger stadium, no bigger stage than this in the Champions League. Barcelona, Newcastle. Who will make it to the last 8? The next 90 minutes is about to tell us. Kickoff at the Spotify Nou Camp is next. A very good evening. Welcome to Champions League Live. Thank you very much for joining us for this one this evening. A huge game for both of these football clubs. Of course, Barcelona, European giants, 5-time winners. They know what it's like to get through these sorts of big games. And last season, of course, they had to edge their way through quite a lot of these knockout fixtures to get to the semi-finals. But Newcastle, as I said, experiencing their best run in this competition and hoping to extend that run here this evening. But there's probably fewer, very few, tougher places to come in Europe than this absolute cathedral of European football. And here's Anthony Gordon, though, trying his best to do so, and they've won a free kick there of Newcastle. Anthony Gordon winning that set piece of Eric Garcia, and of course didn't start last week's game, so he's getting a quick introduction to what he's going to have to face tonight. And Anthony Gordon winning that early set piece for Newcastle. And referee this evening, Francois Letessier from France. On so many occasions, Spanish sides have faced English sides in this competition. What will the next chapter of this great rivalry of these two European countries see tonight? Sandro Tonali, right-footed delivery from the free kick, cleared away at the front post, followed on by Elanga, but far too close to Johan Garcia, who makes ease of that. That's nice play though. Yamal chested it down to Garcia, who was dispossessed well there by Joe Linton. Right, Tonali feeds it down the left for Barnes, up against Eric Garcia. Barnes chops back onto his right foot, chips it to the back post. And Gerard Martin and Joao Cancelo battling there at the back post to put it behind for a Newcastle corner. Well, Newcastle started really well against Barcelona last week. Dominated them from the off, and already here they're really throwing themselves at the home side already, Newcastle. Not allowing Barca time to get on the ball and settle on the ball, which is one of their best attributes. Corner taken short, well dealt with, but actually one back. Trippier, who looks it to the back post, kept alive by Chow. Now Burn on the turn. Right down the throat of Johan Garcia, but worth a hit from Dan Burn. The two centre-backs combining like two great forwards there, Malik Chow and Dan Burn. And Burn's strike had some venom in it. Not enough to take it past Johan Garcia. Lewandowski, little flick. Couldn't find Bernal. Given away cheaply again by Barca, but Elanga was a little bit sloppy. And Barca clear it away. Again, looking under pressure early doors here, this Barcelona team. And we know what Hansi Flick likes to see from his team. Control. Lots of possession. Really sharp, short passes. But Barcelona just haven't been able to, at any stage really in this fixture so far, in this tie, been able to really lay a glove on the such intense press that Newcastle have applied. It's a lovely ball over the top, but the touch took it away from Lewandowski. Ramsdale clears it long, finds Trippier wide on the right, but nicely retrieved by Pedri and given back to his centre back there, Gerard Martin. Of course, one thing about this Barca back line is they're very versatile. They can all play different roles and kind of slot into different places. Gerard Martin played centre back last week, but can also play full back. Playing centre back here this evening with the injuries to Barcelona's defence. Here's Joao Cancelo getting forward and feeds a lovely ball through to Raphinha. Raphinha trying the cross. Well blocked by Dan Burn. Corner to Barcelona. That's much more like it from the home team. Again, nice work from Joao Cancelo down the left touchline, and we've had a nice ball in behind for Raphinha. Well, both sides do have threat in the wide areas. Quite a lot of it. And Barcelona with their first corner of the game for Newcastle to deal with here. Right footed delivery, deeply lifted to the back post. But too close to Aaron Ramsdale. As I said, 1-1 from the first leg, which means the winner on the night will be the winner in the tie, which makes it easier in that front. No complicated permutations. Winning you're through is the quite simple basis. Spinning on a dime there was Yamal. He's drifted into the midfield. Oh, a slip from the back here. Fermin. Across, Raphinha! Barcelona take the lead. A slip from the Newcastle defence from a Lamine Yamal ball through the middle. Picked up by Fermin Lopez. Found its way to Raphinha. And he gives Barcelona the lead. A lead for the first time in this tie. And that is given the Nou Camp its energy after a bit of a sloppy start from Barcelona. On the back foot from the off. But this is the talent they possess. Can kill you in a split second, and this Lamine Yamal touch is absolutely sensational. Sends Malik Chow sliding the opposite direction, and we see it here, just spins on a dime. Yamal plays a through ball, gets a little bit of luck in the fact that there was a slip from Lewis Hall, but they work it well, Barcelona. Raphinha to Fermin Lopez, back to Raphinha, takes a few touches, struck it with his left foot into the bottom left corner. Wonderfully worked, wonderfully finished. Barcelona 1, Newcastle 0. 2-1 in aggregates. Now, an uphill battle for the Toon in Catalonia. And a lot of early work that was going their way has been duly undone by one magic move. But as I say, you know, Lamine Yamal really struggled to get any sort of involvement in the game last week of any real great note, and it's no surprise that he's the one that pops up. He's the one that creates the link between the midfield and attack. He's the creative force. There's the ball in behind here towards Raphinha. Nicely dealt with by Malik Chow. Ramsdale takes no risks, sends long, but a bit inaccurate that time. Out for a Barcelona throw on the left-hand side. Well, early setbacks are not unusual to Newcastle, but they're not a team that gives up early. They will know it's only early in the game and a long way to go. Oh, that's a ball in behind, another mistake. Ramsdale came and Ramsdale conquered. Just about, though. But again, Barcelona not afraid to take risks, being more direct. And that was Fermin Lopez with that through run. See it here again. Yeah, Ramsdale does well. He gets that wrong and it's a whole world of trouble, but he measures it really perfectly, Aaron Ramsdale. And makes the challenge that he really needed to, otherwise they could have been in real bother, Newcastle here. Could have been 2 down. But the team that so often uses offside traps to hold out teams are trying to beat an offside trap so many times, and on 2 and 3 occasions so far they have been successful. Being more direct, Barca. Here's Kieran Trippier. Give Newcastle a bit of possession after what's been a bit of a drop off from them in the last few minutes, as Elanga gives away the free kick under the pressure of Pedri. And I think Barcelona would admit it themselves, they weren't really at their best last week. They were really sloppy in possession, weren't able to really string 3 or 4 passes together in sequence, and just weren't able to garner any sort of momentum. Something they want to rectify tonight, want to put right at their home a home which they returned to back in November. Of course, the Nou Camp under extreme renovations and will be fully reopened next September, I believe. September 2027 in full capacity again. But the Nou Camp, as I said, under renovations, they returned Barcelona to playing football here in November and have won all 12 games they have played in this stadium since it opened. So that is a daunting prospect for Newcastle, that they have to be the first team to not only take something out of Barcelona, but the first team to win here in its new form at the Nou Camp since it reopened. And I mean, it's something that could go one way or the other. It could be a, as I said, daunting prospect, or one that can really motivate a team. Yamal trying that weighted ball in behind, nicely cut out by Tonali, but again the ideas are there, and already seeing a real clear intention from Barcelona. Runners in behind, quick direct through balls, not waiting around too long, and combinations as they give away the ball there a little sloppily. And Bernal penalised for a foul on Harvey Barnes. It's going to get Newcastle a free kick. One thing about this Barcelona team, though, when they are trying to play those quick, sharp passes, when they're moving in opposite directions, one little inaccuracy and Newcastle can't pounce on it with their press. That's where they need to kind of find the balance tonight. Also, from Newcastle's point of view, when to time your press to perfection to break those passes apart. As Tonali will get another opportunity to deliver here from the left. Tonali for the right-footed efforts. Ball whipped in. Didn't even get anywhere near a Newcastle head as it was cleared away there by Pedri. All the way back to Ramsdale it comes from that Barca clearance. Moves long does Ramsdale. Headed by Pedri, bouncing down over the head of Lewandowski. They wanted a foul, not given a foul there by the referee. He said he was pushed, did the Polishman, but the referee from France disagrees. Thanks, Joseph, for joining the Captains Club. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. Andy says, hey man, and Joseph, as a Villa fan, Newcastle are fantastic ambassadors for English club football. Good fans. I'd love to see Newcastle beat Barca. Well, it would be unbelievable for Newcastle Football Club, Newcastle United Football Club, if they were to go through here tonight. As I said, their best run in this competition ever. The Barcelona team, no strangers to these stages, and no strangers to getting through in these circumstances. We talk about kind of ethereal European teams, kind of the top sides, kind of always finding a way and always using their home stadium as that kind of that force for good in the second leg. If you are down from the first leg, you can call upon that stadium, call upon that history to kind of help you along the way. And I think Barcelona could use that a little bit tonight, and need to use it at times as well. An atmosphere, albeit not full capacity inside the Nou Camp, but a stadium that doesn't need much help when it comes to atmospheres. Well, Barcelona have hosted Newcastle here, albeit in the previous version of the Nou Camp before, albeit though 2 losses for Newcastle on those occasions. We'll be hoping, third time lucky coming to the Nou Camp, that they can overturn that sort of feat and that sort of result, pull off something quite historic. As I said, an early uphill battle with that early Raphinha goal, taking the wind out of the sails of Newcastle, but they're fighting their way back into the game. Nicely done by Ramsey there, calm on the ball. Finds it to Lewis Hall, who caused all sorts of problems last week, and does again. Nice little 1-2 with Barnes, and Hall, ball across. That's a beautiful ball. Elanga! 1-1. That's what I said about Newcastle United. They might have a setback, but they're never down and out. And that is completely swung it back in their favour. Their first real cohesive chance to break forward, and they take it. And that Barcelona lead that lasted merely 7.5 minutes is eradicated. 1-1 on the night, 2-2 in aggregate. We have got a great game on our hands, and we have got off to an incredible start. But again, we see it. Yeah, he's onside there, Anthony Elanga. Beautiful ball by Lewis Hall. Again, Barca should do better defensively, but again, really fabulously taken by Elanga. And it all started with Ramsey calmly playing the ball out to Hall on that left-hand side. And for the first time in the game, Lewis Hall getting some space to drive forward. Little 1-2 with Harvey Barnes, and then Hall on the overlap. Fed it right across the Barca back line. Elanga timed his run to perfection. And going away from goal, struck it back across the goalkeeper. And strikes Newcastle United back into the game. Barca 1, Newcastle 1, 2-2 on aggregates. Quality game. And we're only off the mark a quarter of an hour, and we have 2 goals already. A game that last week took a long old time to get the first goal in it. 86 minutes before either team scored last week. It took just 6 minutes this week, and 2 goals inside 15 minutes. That is a perfect start to the night. And both 2 goals from 3 shots on target in total. 2 for Newcastle, 1 for Barca. 2 goals from those 3 shots on target. That's the Champions League football we want to see. High energy, high tempo, and high attacking football, with quite a few good goals in it as well. That's a little bit sloppy there from Joe Linton, giving away the free kick in the midfield. And the point that stands tonight, you know, when it comes to opportunities, both sides really gave up quite a few chances in the first leg, and that's why it took them so long to get onto the end of something and finish. It was because of how kind of poor they were in front of goal, both teams, as Lamine Yamal wins a free kick here for Barca. And the first yellow card of the night is going to go the way of a Newcastle player. And that's Joe Linton. He's given away quite a few tackles, sloppy tackles so far, and quite a few fouls. Gets himself an early booking in this one. Not afraid to get himself stuck in, Joe Linton, but you have to be cute about it. Free kick here though for Barcelona. Raphinha, who scored the first Barca goal, is going to take this free kick from about 34, 33 yards. What can they deliver? Left-footed ball by Raphinha around the back post, a header across, and it's found the net again. Barcelona in front once more, and this goal fest at the Nou Camp has no sign of concluding. 18 minutes, 3 goals, an unbelievable start to the night. And as soon as Newcastle were level, a few minutes later, Barca are back in front again. It's Marc Bernal with the finish, but it is wonderfully carved out from the set piece. See it here, Raphinha. Yeah, the offside. There's no offside. Dan Burns the one playing everybody on. Headed back across goal and just cushioned into the net by Bernal. Is it? Who is it that actually heads that back across? I think it's Gerard Martin. It is. It's Martin that gets the header at the back post. He heads it back across the face of goal. And as everybody's going that way, Marc Bernal is the real essence to just cushion it back across goal. Wrong foot, everybody. And Barcelona are back in front. Barcelona 2, Newcastle 1, 3-2 in aggregate. This has been one hell of a start to this game. Neither side want to give it up. And that's what this means. And thankfully, for our sake, that both sides want to go all out attacking, aren't here to soak up pressure and try and keep clean sheets. They're here to win this game by scoring as many goals as possible. And sometimes you can get that in these tight games. It could go one way or the other. It could be all-out defence to try and nick a late goal, or it can be all-out attack to try and blast their way past the opposition. That has risks of its own though, but an enjoyable start to this game. Just short of 20 minutes. And it's been a real fierce, electric first 20 or so minutes here at the Spotify Nou Camp. Oh, more pressure. Oh, Newcastle getting away with trouble again, getting away with absolute criminal play. I mean, popping it around their own 18-yard box. I mean, it's defensive suicide, really. And they've given away a cheap corner. Hello. Barca are going to make a change here. Joao Cancelo might be coming off. Ronald Araujo is coming on. It's actually Eric Garcia that's coming off. 21 minutes, short of 21 minutes, and Barca are going to make a change. Well, Eric Garcia applauded off by the home crowd. We believe it's an injury issue that's going to see Eric Garcia off, and the man who started it right back last week, Ronald Araujo, is on in his place. And Araujo will be the captain, of course. Takes that armband off Raphinha. Now we will await this Barcelona corner. But the play from Newcastle, yes, take risks, but they really played themselves into a real corner they couldn't find a way out of, and they've now got a corner to defend. Raphinha will take it, right hand side, left footed, swung across the front post, and the header by Araujo, his first action, deflects off a Newcastle defender and behind for another Barcelona corner. Yeah. Raphinha over it again. Similar technique and similar idea, similar outcome. Araujo's header coming off Malik Chow and behind for another Barcelona corner. Third in a row. Really looking to sustain this pressure. Raphinha again, the header. This time it's cleanly kicked by or headed by Ronald Araujo and heading the side netting. Yeah, I mean, that's 3 corners in a row that's all to that front post. The same man. Do better there, Newcastle, as we see the confirmation of onside for that second goal for Barcelona. Gerard Martin held his run perfectly against Dan Burn. Headed back across, and then Marc Bernal with the cushioned finish across goal. Well, this has been a ping-pong first 23 minutes here at the Nou Camp. Lamine Yamal does really well of finding a way out of that tough spot where he was under so much pressure. Cancelo down the left hand side. Pedri held onto the ball and was fouled in the process by Jacob Ramsey. That's going to be a free kick. Well, both sides have been clinical with their opportunities so far, as I said. Only 4 shots on target, 3 goals. All huge opportunities, and they've all been snatched up by their respective attackers so far, as Pau Kubarsi's gone down here. Heading the ball clear, but taking a whack in the process. Pau Cubarsí will receive some treatment. Yeah, he just collided there with Ronald Araujo. Two teammates there clashing. Cubarsí comes certainly off the worst, and he's getting some treatment. Pau Cubarsí back on his feet, up and okay. Has to go off here though, but all good from his side of things. And thankfully, Pau Cubarsí is okay. Well, a reminder for you, this is only part one of 2 games that we have for you tonight on LFS, and of course the 3 later games will all be watched in tandem. Liverpool against Galatasaray, our feature game at Anfield. Arne Slot's Reds in a real topsy-turvy spell all season. Can they overturn a 1-goal deficit from the first leg when they meet against Galatasaray for the 3rd time this season, and the 2nd time in as many days, or in the space of a week, shall I say. That's tonight, 8 o'clock. Trippier, Byrne, to Lewis Hall. Finds Barnes up against Araujo for the first time tonight, but Barnes jinks inside and ball in behind, forces one. Garcia with the clearance, taken in by Pedri in the midfield, but he overhit that ball over the head of Raphinha, who will chase though. Chow sees it back to Ramsdale, flicks it out to Trippier on the right. Back to Malik Chow, but pressure from Barca. Trippier hooks it away. Ramsey trying to hold up the ball, and fouled in the process. There's going to be a free kick. And Barca not letting Newcastle take it quickly there. It's going to be another free kick. Instant challenge on Kieran Trippier. Yeah, I mean, João Cancelo trying to be acting all innocent there, but he knew what he was doing. The referee just given a warning by Francois Letessier. What a fabulous first 26 minutes. I mean, we forget how kind of amazing these types of games are. You see so much strong defending. A lot more about kind of trying not to lose the game rather than trying to go out and win it sometimes in these games. And when the pressure's high, when the chances are on. Oh, sloppy there from Barcelona. Barnes, back across, back post, 2-2. Anthony Elanga again steps up for Newcastle, and they find the leveller again. I said it was a ping-pong game. Barca lead, Newcastle level. Barca lead, Newcastle level again. 2-2, 3-3 on aggregate. This has been an incredible start to this second leg, and it does not look like it's going to stop anytime soon. I have to say, both teams have been really easy to open up defensively, but I'm not complaining. And again, it's sloppy from Barcelona in the possession in their own defensive third, and snatched upon by Newcastle. Barnes does really well, sends Araujo one way, puts it through his legs. Hall tried to get on the end of it, but luckily for him, he had a man waiting at the back post. Anthony Elanga beat past his fullback, no one anywhere near him, and he had an empty net to slot it into, and that's what Anthony Elanga did. 2 goals for him, 2 for Newcastle, 2-2 on the night, 3-3 in aggregates. Absolutely fabulous. Now Newcastle want to take the lead themselves for the first time tonight. Gordon's shot was wide, well wide. Although Barcelona want a foul in the build-up. Well, they wanted to fire Joe Linton on Pedri, but I think that's a little soft. Yeah, it's a little soft. Pedri's just not strong enough, really, there, in my opinion. Referee saying the same thing, that it was a little soft and definitely not a foul, but well, no matter what happens, we've certainly been entertained so far. And the fact that we're only a third of the way through this game and we've already had 4 goals. And it's a throwback to last season's semi-finals, where Barcelona shared a hat full of goals between them and Inter Milan in the semi-finals. Neither wanted to give up, neither wanted to say they were down and out. And so far, neither side want to kind of wave the white flag in this one so far. That's a ball in behind. Barnes up against Araujo. Barnes shielded well. Finds Hall. Now it's Newcastle on the front foot. It's Newcastle that have the momentum. Now it's Barcelona on the back foot all of a sudden. Trippier. Space on the right hand side. Couldn't get the ball past Pedri, who knocks it out for a throw, but that'll do for Newcastle. I mean, this is absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. Anthony Elanga. 2 great goals so far. His first 2 goals. His first goal since a defeat to Manchester City in the League Cup at the start of February, where he scored in the semi-final loss at the Etihad in the second leg of that game. I mean, it's quite incredible. Oh, here's Elanga in behind. He's on a hat-trick here. Plays it across. Gordon! Saved by Juan Garcia, but the flag was up. Well, the space is in behind both teams. I mean, yeah, Elanga's quite a yard or 2 offside there. But Elanga having a great night. Newcastle having a great... I mean, the attackers are enjoying themselves out there. The defenders, I wouldn't say they would be enjoying themselves too much. Not much defending's going on in the first 31 minutes. That's going to be a free kick. Robert Lewandowski coming deep and going toe-to-toe with Dan Burn. And Dan Burn's got to let you know what he's made of in those types of challenges. And Robert Lewandowski winning the free kick there for Barcelona. He's kind of got his left foot trapped underneath Dan Burn there, and that's a free kick. I'm loving this game so far. There's a lot to keep up with. Kubarsi. Oh, a little loose there from Raphinha, trying to reverse that ball. Said about the inaccuracies there of Barca. They're unpunished though, as Newcastle put it straight out of play. Throw into Barca down the right. Araujo. That's a nice through ball, finding Fermin Lopez, and acres of space here. Down to the left hand side. Cancelo trying to go with a little 1-2 with Raphinha, who underplayed his return ball back to Cancelo. Now Newcastle want to carve a way through. Barnes. Elanga coming to the left to help out in the attack. Here's Lewis Hall. In behind for Elanga. Elanga back across. And having to clear it away there, Barca. Now they're under the cosh a little bit here, the home side. As Joe Linton was clawed back by Fermin Lopez. And that's going to be a free kick. He's wrestling him there to the ground. Barcelona have won both of their previous home games against Newcastle, as I said. They beat them 1-0 in November 97 and 3-1 in December 2002. This one, so far, looking like a much tougher task for Barcelona to beat Newcastle at home. 2-2 after just 34 minutes. I have to say, really can't say Barcelona have dominated this game. Newcastle have still had the edge. Free kick taken short. Hall whipped in by Barnes, and well measured by Joan Garcia. Got both hands onto the end of that. Raphinha feeding it through, looking for the run of João Cancelo, who was well cleared out by Sandro Tonali. Covering over there defensively for Newcastle. Needed to. Last 10 minutes of the first half. What's been a completely incredible first half. One thing both managers, I'm sure, will be calling for is a little bit more control. I have to say, albeit they'll not be loving every little aspect of it, but they'll know this game will come down to chances will continue to come, whether they keep taking them, because so far, as I said, it's just been clinical all night from both teams. They've continued on that streak. Each of the last 4 shots on target in this game have been goals. 5 shots on target in total, 4 goals. The only one that wasn't was the first Newcastle shot on target of the night. Here's Elanga, feeds it across. Gordon was the target. Just cut out well by Pau Cubarsí. Given away again by Barcelona. Ramsey. Trippier. Down the right side for Elanga. Drags Pedri out towards to try and close down. Elanga holds on to it, but Pedri's there to nip it away. Now finds Raphinha. Breaking forward here. Can't find a real through ball there. That's a squared across to Ronald Araujo. Back to Raphinha. Araujo again. When they do get on the ball, both teams, so far what we've seen is that you don't want to wait around, don't want to pass the opposition to death. They want to be quick. Very direct approach from both teams. Looking to use that pace to their advantage, which both teams possessed in abundance. Here's Kieran Trippier. Looking to find Elanga in behind again. He got the better of João Cancelo there. Went down. Referee said it was just a fair collision between the two players. It will be a Newcastle throw. Kieran Trippier wants more than that. I mean, João Cancelo does grab at him, but is it enough? I don't think so. I think it's a little soft. I mean, they're both wrestling to get to the ball first. I mean, I think the referee's right there. It's just a collision between both players. It's nothing more than that. Not a foul. Although VAR having a quick look at it. That's what's delaying the restart of this game. But the referee just explaining the situation to both sets of players. Kieran Trippier and Ronald Araujo, the two captains, and Raphinha there as well. But a quick check from VAR, and on-field decision stands. So through in it will be to Newcastle on the right-hand side. Kieran Trippier to take this throw. 5 players in the middle, black and white. Trippier trying to find one of them, finds Burns' head, but second ball cleared away by Bernal. Picked up by Lewis Hall, the last man there for Newcastle. Trying to feed it in behind for Trippier on that right flank, but overhead it there completely. I mean, I'd have to say, if you get to 2-2 at half-time, I think, albeit Now the manager will be happy of how well how their team's defended, but at the same time, I think Eddie Howe will be the happier the fact that his team have been behind twice and found a way to level twice, and probably in this first half arguably been a little bit better than their opponents, but they've given it away sloppily here, and it's a real big chance for Barcelona. Robert Lewandowski stopped on 2 occasions. It will be a corner, but Dan Burn, with unbelievable defending, keeps one of the most ruthless goal scorers out. 1v1. A little sloppy here again on the ball. Is it Malik Chow? Felt he was fouled, but again it's a little bit sloppy in my opinion. It's played through and Barca have got the man advantage galore here, and Dan Burn with 2 incredible defensive actions, throwing his body at one and then heading away with the other. Sees it out from a corner from what could have been a 3rd Barcelona goal. You can see it here, the corner just taken there. Chow and Araujo, the battlers again at the back post, but foul on Aaron Ramsdale, who was held there by Fermin, said the referee. Free kick to Newcastle. Long kick by Ramsdale. Tonali, Elanga couldn't find the ball through that time. Nicely done by Pedri. Eke a little bit of space in the midfield that's been so compact so far. The space that's been in behind both defences that have been exploited by both teams so far. I don't think that'll change too quickly. Cancelo comes infield, a little bit loose with his pass. It was mopped up though, but again, as I said, Barca want to play it quick and play those blind reverse passes. It can be really dangerous when you're under pressure. One little inaccuracy and you could be really signing your own death wish, really, defensively. Pedri. Such intense battling between those midfielders. No let up. It will be a Barcelona free kick. Pedri gets going quickly. Kubarsi. Rare foray into the Newcastle half for the Barcelona defenders. Here's Gerard Martin. Directly through, finds Lewandowski, who dropped into the midfield. Lewandowski. Right down the throat of Aaron Ramsdale from range. Yeah, it's one thing about Robert Lewandowski. You think size, his stature. He'll be that target man up front, but he can also drop in to the pockets of space, pick up the ball in really good situations and strike from range, and we saw that there. I mean, he's got it all. He's Robert Lewandowski after all. He went it back again, Barca. Wanted a foul on the edge of the box, not given by the referee. And now Newcastle have a bit of a break on of their own here. Barnes, down the left, lots of Barca players back, but can they keep it at bay? Barnes flicks it through, finds Lewis Hall on the underlap. Hall to the byline. Right across and into the hands of Joan Garcia. This game is end to end, and here's Lamine Yamal. Pedri. I have to say, whatever happens at the end of tonight, there'll be no doubt that both sets of players will be absolutely knackered. It's been end to end, non-stop, high tempo from the very first minute of this game. And it's not let up the whole way through the first half. Joao Cancelo breaks through too. Cancelo across behind Lewandowski. Still defending to do as Burn throws his body in the way and cleared away this time. Barnes picks it up for Newcastle, trying to go with the 1-2 with Gordon. And it's actually going to be a Newcastle free kick and a yellow card, as both players there in Barnes and Gordon were fouled. And Pau Kubarsi is going to be the one to get the yellow card. I mean, it's been a long while since I've seen a team trying to counter the counter. and one team counter-attacks, the other wants to instantly spring a counter-attack on the back of it. And that's what makes this end-to-end, high-tempo, endless attacking game. It just has not stopped giving us a great moment so far in this first 45 minutes. An incredible first half. Tonali had a little bit of an issue. See here, Fermin Lopez going down under a challenge from Tonali. Wanted the foul, not given. I don't know whether it should have been given. It looked a little soft to me, in my opinion. Juan Laporta, the Barcelona president, in the crowd. 3 additional minutes at the end of the first half of this one. More minutes. Question will be whether half-time will kind of just eradicate this incredibly high-tempo game and we'll have a different prospect to the second half, or whether they'll just want to come out and do exactly the same thing in the second. Fingers crossed it's the latter rather than the former. You could watch this all day long. Absolutely scintillating football so far from both teams. Here's Lamine Yamal. Beautiful skill. Works inside. Yamal fires it towards Lewandowski. Gets it out of his feet. Finds Raphinha. Good save. Oh, Lewandowski over the bar it goes. Lamine Yamal. Robert Lewandowski and Raphinha. You would bet on all 3 of them scoring in that situation, and not a single one of them could convert. Oh my goodness. And it was gorgeous build-up play. Lamine Yamal with the skill to break away from 2 Newcastle players. Fired it into Robert Lewandowski, who got it out of his feet quickly as he was under pressure. Did really well. Found Raphinha. He struck from the left. A cross goal. Ramsdale then spilled it back out into the feet of Robert Lewandowski. Couldn't get a shot off quick enough. It skipped past him. Back to Yamal on the 6-yard line. And he scooped it over the crossbar. I mean, unbelievable. It should be 3-2. And they can't believe it, Barcelona. And what did I say a few minutes ago? There will continue to be chances in this game, but could the momentum swing on the fact that one team stops taking their chances? And that is a huge opportunity to not take in what has been an end-to-end, non-stop game. It has been absolutely... I mean, you can't take your eyes off it. You never know what's going to happen next. Free kick here to Barcelona. Last 30 seconds or so of the first half. Barcelona 2, Newcastle 2 on the night. 3-3 on aggregates. Pedri. Given no time and space. Finds Ronald Araujo. Last few seconds of the half. Here's Lamine Yamal. Waits a beautiful ball in behind. Fired across! All the way through. They want a penalty here. Raphinha went down. Referee says throw in. Kieran Trippier vehemently says no. And Raphinha quite dramatically says yes to penalty. But referee moved it. Oh, beautiful ball by Lamine Yamal. Fired across by Fermin Lopez. And Raphinha was breaking in on it. But did Trippier push him down? This is another big moment. Right at the end of the half. They are checking at VAR. Did Trippier try and cheat a little bit there? And he knew that he wasn't getting to the ball and wanted to try and make sure his man wasn't either. Oh, he does. He pulls him back. That's... Oh, I think he's in trouble here, Kieran Trippier. He should be at least. This could be a doubly big blow. It could be a penalty, and even more so, a possible red card, I would believe, because he pulled him back, denied him from a clear goal scoring opportunity, I would suspect. I think this might be a penalty to Barcelona. And we'll see here. Huge swing of momentum right before the half. Beautiful ball by Lamine Yamal. I mean, absolutely wonderful. And Fermin Lopez fires it across that corridor of danger. And it was dangerous because Kieran Trippier knew that Raphinha got goal side of him. He knew he was in trouble and he pulled his right arm back, which denied him getting anywhere near the ball. It would have been a clear opportunity to put it into the back of the net. The referee's gone away from the screen to book Jason Tyndall for interfering here. Eddie Howe's on the scene as well. I don't think they've got a case really here. It should be a simple decision, penalty. And then Kieran Trippier might be in trouble on the back of it. Let's see. François Tessier points to the spot. Barca penalty. And a yellow card it will be for Kieran Trippier. And just like last week, late in the half, Newcastle give away a sloppy penalty. An avoidable moment, but you have to say, I mean, this is what Barcelona possess. They might not be at their best, but individuals can play unbelievable passes, make something out of nothing. And Lamine Yamal's pass to Fermin Lopez was absolutely incredible. The ball across and Raphinha got the better of his man. And now we're already nearly 3 minutes over the allocated added time at the end of this first half. And it will be a penalty to Barcelona. Raphinha has the ball. He's going to hand it off to Lamine Yamal, who slotted past Ramsdale last week to rescue Barca a draw at St James's Park, to take back here to the Nou Camp. Can Lamine Yamal, who missed a golden opportunity a few minutes ago to give Barca the lead before the half, can he do it from the spot again to give Barca the lead for the third time in this game tonight? Yamal against Ramsdale. Lamine Yamal steps up, left-footed, fires it into the nets. 3-2 Barcelona. And the youngster strikes again from the spot. And Barcelona lead for the third time tonight. And our fifth goal of this absolutely incredible first half. Barcelona 3, Newcastle 2 on the night. 4-3 on aggregate. This has been an incredible game so far. And Barcelona once again in front. And they've been pegged back twice already tonight. But what an incredible game this has been. And it's anybody's guess as to what's going to happen next. But I can tell you, it's going to be enjoyable. 3-2. And he done really well there, Lamine Yamal. Strong left-footed strike into the far right corner. Keeper wasn't too far away, I have to say, Ramsdale at stopping him, but the power behind it from Lamine Yamal is what keeps it from being stopped by Aaron Ramsdale. This is his stage, and he loves every single second of it. Half-time it is, and we've had a 5-goal first half here at the Nou Camp. I said it was one of the best venues to ever watch football. Well, this has been one of the most enjoyable Champions League games this season. And we're only halfway through it. Half-time, it's Barcelona 3, Newcastle 2. We'll pick apart what has been an unbelievable first half when we come back. Sure, one last kick. This is going to be it. This is the moment. Vicario kicks this. And Liverpool are there. Liverpool are Premier League champions. And there it comes. Crystal Palace, for the very first time in their history, are FA Cup winners. Oh, he's found the net. Oh, what a goal. Kvaratskhelia is through. Wants to add a fourth. And does so. Ahmad, oh my goodness me! That is absolutely unbelievable! Rice again. Oh! You thought he couldn't beat the first one. He's gone and battered it. Another whip ball in. The header is in by Virgil van Dijk. Incredible. Welcome back to Champions League Live, second half at the Nou Camp, on the way very shortly, where it has been an incredible first half between Barcelona and Newcastle in what is the second leg of this round of 16 tie. 3-2 it is at the break to the home side, and it left it very late to take that get that third goal with that late penalty. We'll talk all about that in a second, but a reminder of the four teams that are already through to the quarter-finals. Sporting left it to a comeback against Bodo Glimt. The Norwegian side thought they were doing what they've done over the last number of rounds in the competition and upsetting teams that they aren't really expected to. They had a 3-goal lead heading into that game in Portugal last night, and that lead was eradicated after 78 minutes. It took them a long while, but they got there to make it level, did Sporting. Inacio Goncalves and Suarez making it 3-3 on aggregate, and it went to extra time. It took them 2 minutes to take the first lead of the tie, 4-0 through Araujo, and put to bed 5-0 finish. Rafael Nel with the 5th goal, and Sporting are through to the quarter-finals. They know their opponents. Their opponents are Arsenal. That's the only fixture that is currently decided for the quarter-finals. Arsenal 2-0 winners against Bayer Leverkusen at the Emirates last night. A 1-1 draw from the first leg means it was a straight winner to go through. Berrieza and Declan Rice, the two scorers for Arsenal, either side of the half, to secure victory for Mikel Arteta's side. And it was another dismal night for Chelsea against Paris Saint-Germain, the reigning European champions, destructing the Blues on their home patch. Kvaratskhelia, who really destroyed Chelsea last week when he came off the bench, he was the one that opened the scoring after 6 minutes to extend PSG's already 3-goal lead heading into that fixture. It was then 2-0 on the night when Bradley Barcola converted, and Sene Mayulu, the substitute, also come off the bench to add a third to PSG's win on the night. 3-0 winners on the night, 8-2 on aggregate. Chelsea's joint biggest defeat in Champions League knockout history. And as well, Real Madrid getting another number on Manchester City. Those two have fought so fiercely in the Champions League over the last few years, and again another win for Real Madrid, and a win on the night, which was another bonus for them really in progressing. Bernardo Silva was sent off after a professional handball that also awarded Real Madrid a penalty, which Vinicius Jr. converted. Erling Haaland then got them a leveller for City on the night, albeit still 3 goals down overall, before a late Vinicius Jr. winner on the night made it 2-1 to Real Madrid after 93 minutes, and a 5-1 aggregate victory for Real over the 2 legs, comfortably through to the quarter-finals. So Sporting and Arsenal will play each other in the last 8, and then PSG will face the winners of Liverpool Galatasaray, and Real Madrid will face the winners of Atalanta Bayern Munich. That is the brackets, and already we have to wait for one full tie to be decided, because we don't know the outcome of either of these 2 games on the top right of your screen. Newcastle Barcelona, which is going down to the wire as we head into the second half, and Atletico Madrid Spurs still to be decided tonight as well. Right, well, a reminder for you, Liverpool against Galatasaray is our feature game coming up at 8 o'clock tonight. We've just had the team news drop in the last few minutes there at Anfield, and we'll have full details on that very shortly. But a big second half to come, though, at the Nou Camp between Barcelona and Newcastle. It is 3-2 to Barca on the night, 4-3 in aggregate. Remember, whoever wins this game this evening will win the tie, because it was level after the first leg. And at the moment, it is Barca booking their place in the last 8 through Lamine Yamal's late first half penalty. But there's still 45 minutes, possibly more to come, if we get something similar to that first half. Second half between Barca and Newcastle is next. Welcome back. Thank you very much for joining us. Don't forget to like, subscribe and turn on post notifications if you haven't done so already. That would be greatly appreciated. A quick recap of that first half. Raphinha gave Barca the lead after 6 minutes. Anthony Elanga then levelled after 15. Marc Bernal then retook the lead for Barca 3 minutes after the Newcastle leveller. And then a few minutes after that, Anthony Elanga then levelled again for Newcastle. 2-2 after 28 minutes. And Lamine Yamal's late first half penalty after a foul on Raphinha by Kieran Trippier awarded the penalty to Barca, and Yamal, like he did last week, converting from the spot past Aaron Ramsdale, this time to give Barca the lead on the night and with still a whole half to go. But if there's one thing about Newcastle they can say, they've been behind quite a few times tonight, but they've never said and never given up. They know that they're within one goal of getting back into this tie and maybe swinging it in the opposite direction and maybe in their favour, and that could be the moment they need to wait for. We will see if Eddie Howe's team can pull it off. It would be quite historic if they were to do it, even in this position right now as they stand 3-2 down. But when Barca are in this mood to just outscore someone, more often than not they come out as victors. They've got goals galore in their team. But Newcastle have already shown that they've got it in response when they need it. By the way, there's been a half-time substitution for Newcastle. Kieran Trippier has been replaced by Tino Livramento. So Trippier, who gave away the penalty and got a yellow card late in the first half, is the one that's swapped out for Tino Livramento at full-back for the seconds. What will that change for Newcastle? And what attributes will Tino Livramento give? I might test Barcelona a little bit more in this second half. Well, Barca get us back underway, kicking from right to left in this second half. Of course, Newcastle from left to right. We're hoping they can get it right in the second half, Eddie Howe's team, to pull off a comeback. They've been behind twice, they levelled the game twice. So they know how to fight back into this game already tonight. Can they do it once more to get them back on terms and then maybe kick on from that? You've got to say that's something they really haven't been able to do, Newcastle, so far, albeit they've been, when they have leveled, they've had that instant momentum, but haven't really been able to use it to try and put Barcelona on the back foot and not give them any opportunity to get in front again. And I think their best spell of doing that was after they scored the second. Newcastle, it kind of just dissipated then. And then Barcelona just found their feet back into the game. And you know, when you give Barcelona their footing in this game and allow their best players to just play to their strengths, you're in real trouble. Here's Raphinha. Lovely little first touch. Took it away from his man, but then gave it away. It's given back to Barcelona. Loose ball there by Tonali. Now here's Fermin Lopez. Whips it in with the right foot. Headed away by Chow. Brought down by Joe Linton. He's under pressure himself. And Livramento right into the deep end here. Couldn't clear it away. Joao Cancelo. Now Pedri. Back to Bernal. Pedri again. Right wide to Joao Cancelo. Trying to keep the movement here, Barcelona. They didn't have much control, I have to say, that first half for being the home side and taking the lead twice in this game. Now 3 times, as we know, but, you know, they just haven't really been able to keep Newcastle at bay. They've always posed a threat, Newcastle, and probably at times had the game in their control, despite being behind 3 times. And it's quite an unorthodox situation, being in control of a match, but trailing it quite a lot. That's lovely from Lewis Hall, though. Couldn't find a way in behind Joao Cancelo. And nicely guided by Pau Cubarsí back to his goalkeeper. They also just need to be a little bit more settled, Barcelona. They got a little bit panicky when Newcastle applied their press in that first half, and it just put themselves into trouble. I think Newcastle as well caused a few of their own downfalls, and I think both sides just tighten up a little bit. Be a bit sharper on the ball, be a little bit less clumsy at times. In pressure situations they can play a cleaner game, but I have to say, I'm not complaining the fact that we had a 5-goal first half, not by any stretch. Do expect it to be a little bit more measured though in the second half. Yamal, lovely little layoff. Good run by Pedri to get on the end of it. Finds Araujo, who's got the space in behind for Fermin Lopez. Tonali on the cover. Lopez finds it back into Araujo, who cuts it back across onto Raphinha. Good save out of Ramsdale. Really well created by Barca. Pedri. Bernal. Pedri again. Looking to really take grip of this fixture now, Barcelona. Here's Lamine Yamal. Barnes on the cover defensively. Lamine Yamal turning him inside and out. And spins back on. In behind. Flicks it across. Away by Livramento and cleared away by Elanga. But one back by Pedri. No way out for Newcastle. Cancelo. Nice ball. Lewandowski across. And a miscue there by Raphinha. Into the hands of Ryan Ramsdale. Better though from Barcelona. Sustaining the pressure. Keeping Newcastle on the back foot. Penned in their own 18-yard box there, really. That's a loose clearance there by Aaron Ramsdale. Applauded by Hansi Flick with the press from Barca. I said he loves control. And only 56% possession in the first half. Barcelona not the real example of control that Barcelona are used to. Certainly on home turf. In this second half, already you can see trying to be a bit more possessive. A little bit loose there though between Raphinha and Pedri. Tonali picks up down the left hand side for Newcastle. Flicks it back, finds Barnes, now Gordon. Now Lewis Hall on that underlap. He's come back outside. Hall tried to take a touch around his man. Yamal did well to make the challenge. Pedri's got it now. Tight area. Does well to find Bernal. And now Lamine Yamal on the ball. Yeah, a little bit sharper from Barcelona in this second half. Confident in their approach. If they do lose the ball, they've got the ability to recover it quickly. Oh, loose ball there. Raphinha, he's played it in behind. Beautifully timed run. It's a chance to make it 4-2. It is 4-2. For the first time in this fixture, Barcelona have daylight. And look at that. Taken by Fermin Lopez. 4-2 Barcelona. 5-3 on the night, on aggregate, sorry. And it's a beautifully played through ball that was run onto so perfectly by Fermin Lopez. And Barcelona have it in their grasp. Early in the second half, they've been much more dominant. And they're reaping the rewards of such. Again, given so much time and space here. Beautiful ball. Raphinha drops off his man, reverses it in behind, and Fermin Lopez has all the time and space you could ever hope for, and does the perfect finish with the right foot into the far right corner. Ramsdale trying to close the angle down, did his best, but was really in no man's land in trying to stop it. Barcelona 4, Newcastle United 2. 5-3 on aggregates. And that is a real body blow for Newcastle. To now be 2 down on the night. And with a real issue. Because they have been under the cosh exclusively in this second half. 83% possession for Barcelona in the 7.5 minutes we played. And they're in behind again. Here they go once more. Beautiful ball in behind. Is Fermin Lopez again. Went down. It's going to be a corner. Challenged there by Tonali. He put it behind for the corner, but look at the response from the crowd. You're enjoying this a lot more from their team. Great challenge. Fabulous by Tonali. Gets the littlest of touches, but the most important of touches. It's a corner. No doubt. They've just been a level above, though, Barcelona in this second half. And yet we're still so early in this second period, but At the minute, it is looking good for the Catalan side to be progressing to the last 8. Long way to go, though. They have work to do, Newcastle, and they have an issue here with Sandro Tonali, who did go down directly after that challenge with Fermin Lopez, is still down, receiving some treatment on that left leg. Might have been just grazed there by Fermin Lopez, his left shin. So he is just receiving some treatment at the moment here, Sandro Tonali. Looks like there's going to be some movement from the Newcastle bench early in this second period. Well, it's the first goal for Fermin Lopez since the 22nd of February when he scored against Levante here. They won 3-0 in that game. Has registered a few assists. He's got an assist and a goal tonight, Fermin Lopez. Beautifully taken goal. Really calm and composed finish to make it 4-2 in such a high pressured moment, such a huge moment in this fixture, in this tie. You know, for the first time, to give either team a 2-goal lead in the tie is a massive momentum swing. And Tonali's last action was to put that behind for the corner. So not able to continue, Sandro Tonali, and kind of helped around the side of the pitch, which is not a good sign. Joe Willock on in his place. Corner to Barcelona. There for the delivery by Yamal. Back post, headed across. It's 5-2. Robert Lewandowski. Not denied this time. Rose high above everybody else and headed back across goal from where it came. Barcelona 5, Newcastle United 2. I think they've stepped it up quite a few levels, Barcelona. And these levels are just too difficult for Newcastle to try and stop. When they're in their groove, Barcelona, they are unstoppable. Great delivery from the corner. Headed back across goal by Robert Lewandowski. 5-2. And that is getting closer and closer to game, set and match. Tino Livramento beaten to it at the back post by Robert Lewandowski. Great delivery, great header, great goal. 5-2, 6-3 on aggregate. What an incredible game. And what a great second half it's been for Barcelona. Quite the opposite for Newcastle, who are seeing their hopes of a last 8 place collapsing right in front of them. But I have to say, there is no shame in being outplayed at the Nou Camp, a stadium that emanates history, that has delivered so many times before for Barcelona. But you have to say, in this second half, whatever was said at half-time, whatever they figured out at half-time, Barcelona, they've gone to a different level. They've taken this game more than to Newcastle. Have absolutely killed them in this second half so far. We've only played 12 minutes. But a 3-2 half-time lead to 5-2 with still over 32 minutes to go. There's a lot of control, but it's not over yet. Here's Hall, looking for the cutback. Cleared away by Araujo. Well, I have to say, I think I'm eating my words in a respect that I said this game would be a little bit more controlled in the second half. It's been probably the opposite. It's been as open as the first half was, if not more open than the first half. Newcastle have been very open. Defensively, carved through on a few occasions so far. But in every aspect, I think Barcelona have been much better in this second half. What we saw them get to when they got all the way to the semi-finals last year, got all the way to the wire when trying to get to the final. That was the levels they reached, just a team that would never give up, a team that was so incredibly powerful in the final third, and we know they're capable of it, but so far in this season's Champions League we really haven't seen it from Barcelona. The fact that they've had such quality but not been able to put it on show on too many occasions, and tonight it looks like the unleashing of the shackles of this Barcelona team. And Hansi Flick has just said go out and have fun, and by God they've had fun, certainly in the attacking sense so far. A yellow card here for Joe Willock, who's not long on the pitch, Joe Willock, and foul on his opposing midfielder there, Pedri. It is a pull, it is a foul, and a yellow card given out there. Confirmation that Joe Willock's yellow card will see him miss the next Champions League match that he plays, albeit if they don't get through this season, the next time he plays in this competition, eligible to play, he will be missing. Yamal, well challenged by Lewis Hall. And I know it's going to be difficult for them, and it's going to be a hell of a task to try and come back from the position they're currently in, Newcastle, but you know, they've got to just stick to this. And I don't doubt that they will stick to it. They'll keep creating opportunities. I said that. There's opportunities galore in this fixture, in this game. Oh, that's a lovely ball in behind. Lewandowski takes a chance, takes another goal. 6-2. Robert Lewandowski with his second of the night. And it's again carving through Newcastle United like a hot knife through butter. No stoppage whatsoever. And they are blowing Newcastle out of the water. Barcelona 6, Newcastle 2. And this is the Newcastle fans' worst fears coming to life. That Barcelona were going to be on their game. And in this second half, they have been unplayable. 16 minutes they've played in the second period, and Barca have scored 3 goals. But they've just done the little differences, little bits and pieces. Again, it's poor. I mean, Malik Chow should do more. It is poor. The through ball goes right underneath his feet. Robert Lewandowski gets on the end of it. He takes a touch. You think he's going to shoot here. He waits, gets himself set and ready. And when he's in that sort of position, in that sort of form, I think barely any goalkeeper of the world would stop Robert Lewandowski. 6-2, 7-3 in aggregate. It's been one hell of a incredible fixture. And it's one that Barcelona are more than dominating now. It might have taken them 3 halves of this fixture to try and find this form. But that's the fear. You can hold Barcelona to their second best for well over 135 minutes. But it's hard to do all the way through 2 legs. And that's why they're one of Europe's best. That's why they've got some of the best players in the world. And now, more firefighting for Eddie Howe and Jason Tyndall to do with their bench. Because they know what the outcome's going to be now. We don't want it to be an embarrassment for Newcastle on the road. And I think we're just going to see some defensive changes to try and prevent that scenario from coming true. Jacob Murphy and Sven Botman are going to be the 2 subs here for Newcastle. Already made some changes already tonight. Newcastle 1 at half time and 1 already in the second half with the injury to Sandro Tonali. So a double change. Going to see Joe Linton and Elanga replaced by Murphy and Botman. And we go to a back 5, I would suspect here, Newcastle. I have to say, it'll feel very empty now, but you have to give Newcastle so much credit. If anybody would have said, what one team out of the 6 English teams do you think won't go the furthest in the Champions League this season, you would have said Newcastle. You would have said really their squad doesn't have that depth to continually fight on all fronts. But I have to say they've given Barcelona an incredible first leg. They gave them a really good game, and in the first half they did not allow Barcelona to shake them off. But sometimes it's when a team's in the form like Barcelona are right now, they can kill you in a split second. I mean, when you score 6 goals from 10 shots on target from 14 shots, I mean, you're in one of your best attacking sets of form, and you're unstoppable when you're in that type of form. You can put 3 goalkeepers in the net and they still wouldn't stop them. I mean, that's the way Barcelona have been tonight. Their finishing has been top notch. Quite incredible. And that's what we know their attacking line is capable of. Lamine Yamal, Raphinha, Fermin, Lopez, Robert Lewandowski, Ferran Torres, amongst a lot of the different players that Barcelona have in attacking areas. But tonight I think all 4 of the front 4 of Barcelona have been incredible. Lamine Yamal and Raphinha in both wings, tearing their fullbacks apart, and then Fermin Lopez and Lewandowski linking up. Fermin again! Loose there, gave it away to Malik Chow a little loosely. And they get away with it, Newcastle again. They were carved open once more. Triple change then for Barcelona. So Pedri's going to be replaced, as is Lewandowski. And Fermin Lopez. So Lopez, Lewandowski and Joao Cancelo all coming off. And Dani Olmo, Ferran Torres and Xavi Espart all coming on for Barcelona. And a standing ovation for those that are going off the pitch for Barca tonight. And Robert Lewandowski pops up with 2 great goals. That's really taken this game firmly away from Newcastle. No doubt. Now, maybe some other, no offence, but second string options, some backup options to try and get themselves on the score sheet here for Barcelona. Free kick here to Barcelona. Looks like Raphinha and Dani Olmo are over the free kick, left hand side. It is Raphinha, left footed delivery, back post, over the head of Araujo, and out for the throw on the far side to Newcastle. And he says the scoreline is flattering Barca, all things considered. I mean, yeah, it's easy to say that, but both teams have had ample opportunities tonight. Both teams have created so many chances. It's been a really open game, and both teams have been clinical when they've had their chances. But as I said, across the fixture, Barcelona have no doubt been second best. In terms of, I think the first leg they were lucky to get a draw out of the game. I think Newcastle were the better team in the first leg, and then in the first half of this game, they were kind of hanging in there, just staying a little bit ahead of Newcastle, just about kind of pipping them to the post of the first half. And the second half, they've been undoubtedly being the better team, and that's backed up by the goals they've scored. But that's the kind of the equation, the magic equation to win in the Champions League. You can't be your best the whole way through the 2 legs, and sometimes that happens. But when you meet a team that are kind of willing to give it a go, and a Newcastle side have played really well in the Champions League this season, have been one of the real kind of enjoyable teams to watch in this season's competition, they're not going to go down without a fight. So Barcelona were never going to have it all their own way. but ultimately it's the quality is just shown through, and more often than not it does in these types of games. Here's Raphinha trying to make it a hat-trick of assists. He's got 2 assists and a goal tonight, Raphinha. He wanted another one there, and that time a little bit loose, but Barca keep the possession. But I think that's the magic formula of winning in 2-legged ties in the Champions League. That's beautiful play. Chance for Ferran Torres. Blocked by Malik Chow. Picked up by Esbart. Now Yamal. He's having fun now. Doing a little dance. Esbart across. A little high for Ferran Torres. Nice idea though. Here's Martin. He's gone wide. Bernal. Kubalsi back to Ronald Araujo. Lovely ball through. Spinning was Dani Olmo, but caught out there by Ramsey. And bundled over was Tino Livramento. Free kick to Newcastle. Well, Barcelona will play either Atletico Madrid or Spurs in the quarterfinals. That's the knowing detail. Of course, Spurs will have a hell of a tough task tonight to try and stop Atletico being the team that goes through to the last 8. 3 goals down from the first leg. Spurs hoping they can pull off the magic comeback. We'll keep an eye on that one as well as 2 other games. Our feature game, Liverpool against Galatasaray, is an 8 o'clock kickoff from Anfield. Bayern Munich against Atalanta is the other game in action at 8 o'clock. As I say, the winner of this tie will play the winners of Atletico Spurs, and from the way that both games stand, it looks like it will be an all-Spanish tie. Still time to go. Here's Raphinha. Trying to work it across, a little deflection that cleared away by Dan Burn. Nice actually to play it into the path of Jacob Murphy. Finds Barnes. Back to Tino Livramento. Back it goes all the way back to Aaron Ramsdale. Of course, we will mop up all the details of the quarterfinals and the ties to be expected for the last 8 and when they will take place. We'll have all those details a little later on for you, but so far Barca are the team that are going to head through from this fixture. Unless Newcastle can pull 4 goals out of the bag to keep the tie alive. But again, it's been an incredible season for Newcastle in the Champions League, and you know they can't be too disheartened. Oh, getting too sloppy again. Here's Raphinha, 7-2. What on earth? Newcastle, architects of their own downfall there. I mean, that was absolutely dreadful defending. I mean, one thing they don't need to do is give Barcelona a helping hand tonight. And it's 7-2, and it's a mistake that leads to that goal. And a much happier looking Juan Laporta, who's a little bit glum in the stands in the first half, but much happier now, I'm sure. 7-2 up. Raphinha has been out of this world tonight. 2 goals, 2 assists. Absolutely incredible. 7 goals. But again, it's really poor. It's just unnecessary. I mean, I don't understand why Ramsey's doing it. He's facing his own goal. He's trying to play it across the edge of his own 18-yard box. It's a high ball. It's everything you don't do in any game. Never mind when you're 4 goals down already. It's just something that you just don't do. And Raphinha gladly takes the ball down, slots it past Ramsdale. 7-2 on the night to Barcelona. 8-3 on aggregate. And I mean, it is a night I won't want to remember. Newcastle. But again, I mean, it's a silly mistake that carves them apart, but it's all of their own doing. You just can't excuse that, really. And now he's on a hat-trick, remember. Raphinha. Quite a few players tonight actually on a hat-trick. Of course, Anthony Elanga was on a hat-trick. He can't take it. He's off the field. Robert Lewandowski was on a hat-trick. He can't get it. Raphinha is on the pitch. He got his second goal just there, so he's on a hat-trick at the moment. And is also on for a hat-trick of assists as well. I mean, talk about the perfect game. But I think this needs to be a game where you have to say Newcastle just have to compartmentalise this game and go, we were below our levels in the second half. Barca took it to a different stage and we just weren't able to compete at that level, and it was well beyond us. But they just need to use it as a kind of a one-off 45-minute performance that was below what their levels are, and just kind of eradicate it from the minds, because they've still got a lot to fight for this season, and still kind of a big game at the weekend to come at St James's Park. Of course, the Tyne-Wear derby on Sunday is going to be one hell of an atmosphere for that one. But I mean, they've got to fight to be in Europe next season, Newcastle. They're in that mix of teams. They're 9th in the Premier League at the moment. Currently 6 points off 6th place Chelsea, 3 off 7th place Brentford, so still with a clear shout of European football next season. Tall order to get anywhere near Champions League, although be at only 7 points off 5th place Liverpool, so it's within reach with 8 games to go with the season in the league. But that will be their sole focus between now and the end of the season, Newcastle. But a night not to remember, a night to desperately forget. But you got to say, up until the start of this second half, they were the team that you could probably feel could have snuck a win in this fixture and snatched their way to the last 8. But Barcelona, as I said, have gone to a different a different stratosphere, and have absolutely torn them to pieces in this second half. Here's Tino Livramento. Lays it in behind. There is still opportunities against Barca. It's dealt with there. The flag was up anyway, but they take risks of their own, Barcelona. So this will be kind of a bit of a study for whoever plays Barcelona next in this competition. You know, whoever they're going to face next, either Atletico Madrid or Spurs. You know, it will be a study to go. I mean, if it's Atletico, they know Barca inside out, so they don't need to do much more studying on what ways to find a way past Barcelona, because they've already beaten them this season, and quite comfortably, if you remember, in the Copa del Rey. But I think if it is Atletico, which, based on the first leg result, it looks like it will be, unless Spurs can drop the comeback. Here is Torres in behind, met by Ramsdale. Torres back across, blocked, picked up by Olmo, who offside goes against Barca. Flag went up there against Ferran Torres in the build-up. Yeah, he's just offside. But I think, as I said, if it is Atletico, that'll be a great quarter-final. Barca Atletico. Of course, based on the first leg result, that will be looking likely to be the tie for the last 8. An all-Spanish battle. And if I'm not mistaken, Barcelona would have the second leg at home for that tie because of how they finished in the league phase, I believe. Yeah, because they finished in the top 8 of the league phase, they will have the home leg advantage as long as they're the higher seeded team. I believe that's the case. And it looks like it will be, again, 3 out of 4 English teams knocked out of this competition at this stage that have played. 2 more still to play. And a round of 16 that saw 6 of the 16 teams be Premier League sides. The only European league to have all of their competing teams in the round of 16 from this season's competition. And it looks like it's going to be less than half of them. Very likely to be less than half come the end of the round of 16. Just shows you though. That's a lovely ball in behind. Here's Lamine Yamal. Good save out of Ramsdale. Beautiful through ball again. There's passes from Barcelona in behind. Time to perfection. Time and time again. Well, here's a nice one for Harvey Barnes on the breakaway. Can he snatch a consolation? Right down the throat of Joan Garcia from the edge of the box there from Harvey Barnes. Good save from Ramsdale against Lamine Yamal though. Takes the touch onto his left foot. Tries to scoop it past by Ramsdale, who uses his right hand or right arm to perfection and forces it away from his goal. Well, the path to a suspected final for Barca will look like this. Of course, they will have, as I said, Atletico or Spurs in the quarterfinals, and then a prospect of either Sporting or Arsenal in the semis. You know, this side of the draw that these teams are all in is seen as the, not the easier side of the draw, but the more preferred side of the draw, in the fact there's more winnable games. You know, it's a real chaos looking other side with PSG and Real Madrid already in the mix. Possibly Bayern Munich could be joining that group, and maybe Liverpool or Galatasaray, but you know, you'd probably say you'd prefer to be on Barcelona and Arsenal and Sporting side of the draw rather than the other side, you gotta say. And I think Barcelona, Atletico and Arsenal and Sporting as well, I mean, they will all back themselves, but Arsenal, if it goes toe-to-toe with Sporting, probably should be the team that comes out on top, but you never know. Injury issue here for Barcelona. Goalkeeping issue. Joan Garcia has gone down off the ball, so it looks like Wojciech Szczesny is getting himself ready to come onto the field. You do have one more substitute that can be made here, Barcelona, and it looks like it's going to be a goalkeeping switch. And Joan Garcia, who's been the stalwart for this Barca team in front of goal this season. And looks like Wojciech Szczesny is going to be coming on in his place. Newcastle made another change of their own there, by the way. Anthony Gordon are replaced by Will Osula. To Szczesny on for Joan Garcia for Barca. A straight goalkeeping switch. Look at that for a banner. It's a great banner. The Barcelona fans there. Last 8 minutes of this round of 16 tie that was for so long of this tie. It was in the balance. 135 minutes, about 3/4 of the tie. It was in the balance, but the cream always rises to the top, and it looks like Barcelona have very much stormed their way to the quarterfinals with this second half performance. Fermin Lopez making it 4-2 after just 6 minutes of the second period. Robert Lewandowski then heading in from a corner to make it 5-2. Lewandowski then again 5 minutes later added his second, and Barca's sixth to make it 6-2, before Raphinha with his second of the game made it 7-2 after 72 minutes. 7-2 after 72. I like that. And of course, it's another incredibly high-scoring knockout tie that Barcelona have been involved in. Of course, they equalled the record for the most goals in a single Champions League knockout tie last season in that semi-final against Inter, which had 13 goals in it. We've had 11 goals in this one. That is, of course, amongst a number of other games that have had that sort of scoreline. Man United against Roma, Bayern against Porto, Barca against PSG, if you remember back in 2016-17. A lot of those on the list there. Newcastle have had their own involvement in high-scoring games, of course, if you remember from the round of the knockout playoffs, shall I say. Newcastle were involved in a 12-goal tie against Karabag, 9-3 in aggregates. Newcastle's favourite. An exclusive list of games that had 12 goals in it in knockout ties. So one that's high scoring that's gone for Newcastle this season, and a high scoring tie that's gone very much against them in the exact next round. I mean, the highs and lows of Champions League football, and they're living on a high here at the Nou Camp, the home fans. They're doing the Mexican way of... I haven't seen that at a football match in a long time. Lamine Yamal! Shot from the edge of the box there with the left foot. And Ramsdale able to grab. It's very Lamine Yamal-esque, that. Just curled back into the vicinity of the Newcastle goalie. Well, we talked about what Newcastle have got coming up. Well, that, of course, quarter-final will be on the horizon for Barcelona at the start of next month. But before that, they will have two huge games in La Liga when they're on the chase for the title of their own. Which they have a lot of chasing to do. Just to keep ahead, 4 points clear of Real Madrid after 28 matches, still 10 league games to go in La Liga. And the next two are tough ones. Rayo Vallecano here at the weekend before, of course, the international break, and then they restart 4th of April away to Atletico Madrid. Who knows? They could play Atletico 3 times in 4 games over that week and a half or so if they get them in the quarterfinals of the Champions League. Of course, Barca will be hoping they can do what they failed to do last season, and was the clear objective was to do it all. Was to do League and Champions League. Of course, they can't do Copa del Rey. They were knocked out in the semi-finals by Atleti. Could Atleti be the downfall of Barca this season? Ultimately, knocking them out of the Copa del Rey. Possibly facing them in the quarterfinals of the Champions League, playing them in the league again at the Wanda in a few weeks. I mean, Barca's season could be spun on ahead by Atletico Madrid and Diego Simeone. Throw in here for Newcastle down the left-hand side. 2.5 minutes of normal time to go. Reminder for you, we have the second game of the night on the way very shortly. Liverpool against Galatasaray, where Liverpool will have to overcome a 1-goal deficit from the first leg to progress. Actually, we didn't tell you the team news from that one, as there's a issue here for Ronald Araujo, who was absolutely had the ball blasted in his face there. And that's going to be a quick check-up on Ronald Araujo to make sure he's okay. And luckily, he's back to his feet as quick. I mean, a bouncing atmosphere inside the Nou Camp, as you would expect, from what they've seen from their team, especially in this second half. And you know how quickly a game can change from being as tight as anything to being blown out of the water. And Barcelona just sailing away into the sunset towards the quarterfinals and leaving Newcastle drowning en route. And it may not be capacity, it may not be completely finished, but a Nou Camp that's going to surely have many more nights like this in the revamped version of the stadium when it does officially fully open next autumn. By the way, I'm just sorting out the team news for the next game because it's a quick turnaround, by the way. We've had so much added time already in this game that it's a quick turnaround. Oh, well, Ronald Araujo, who's still a little bit unsure here. Looks a little bit out of sorts. Remember, injury problems already this season for Barcelona. Well, that is the end of the game. No additional time. The referee not looking to inflict any more time and pain on Newcastle. A second half which they were completely, very little a part of, really. Barcelona absolutely tore them to pieces in the second half. But you got to say, they gave it a good go, Newcastle. And for 3/4 of this tie, they were very much in the fixture. But when Barcelona needed to turn it on, they did. 4 goals in the second half, and that completely took it away from Newcastle. Barca into the last 8 by putting 8 past Newcastle over 2 legs. A Newcastle side who gave it a good go at the Nou Camp. But it is home, sweet home for Barcelona. 13 wins in a row in this stadium since it reopened. It is their lucky charm, and they are into the quarterfinals of the Champions League. Final score, it's finished Barcelona 7, Newcastle United 2 on the night. 8-3 to Barcelona on aggregates. And a quick look that Liverpool against Galatasaray is on the way in just a few minutes. A very quick turnaround. And we'll be back with you very, very shortly. Can Liverpool pull off the comeback? Arne Slot's team in a lot of trouble, you got to say. We'll talk all about that. And the Turkish side Galatasaray have been Liverpool's Achilles heel this season in the Champions League. Can they get the job done, the Turks? We'll find out. Liverpool against Galatasaray on the way, along with 2 other games in the Champions League, very shortly. It's supposed to feel